Okay, so vertex is at 0, 0. And then my axis of symmetry, your axis of symmetry is always the x value of your vertex. So the x value of my vertex is my axis of symmetry. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 0. And the transformation that took place, well, the only thing that happened, it was affected by my a. Because there is a negative, that's a reflection over the x-axis. Because I have 1/2, that value is less than 1. That means it's a vertical compression. And that's what you're doing to each one of these, describing what it represents and what it means. So looking at them, so on this one, my vertex, I still have 0 for x, but 2 for k. My axis of symmetry, therefore, is x equals 0 still. My 3/2, that's my a, it's greater than 1. So that's a vertical stretch. All right, on number 3, my vertex this time, remember our x is a liar, so it's at positive 5, positive 3. Therefore, my axis of symmetry is at x equals 5. And I have a lot of things happening since I have that 5, since my h equals 5, that's a shift to the right. Since my k equals 3, that's a shift up. And my a equals 4, which is greater than 1, that's a vertical stretch. If you were not able to write those without me telling you what they were, you need to go back and relook at your notes and go back over your practice from Friday. On Wednesday, we will have a quiz over transformation. So if you're struggling with this, you need to practice, ask questions, and be prepared for Wednesday's quiz. All right, so today is pretty short. We would have been done by now if no life hadn't happened around here. 2-4 notes writing an absolute value function. This is transformations part 2. Okay, so we're going backwards. This time you're given the graph and you have to tell me what the variables are, what took place. All right, so remember the general form of an absolute value function is y equals a absolute value of x minus h plus k. That is your general form. I have your notes. They're sitting right in front of me. You don't want them. Okay, so the general form, the key thing here for writing is to know what everything is and how to find everything. Okay, so when we're doing this, our A represents our slope actually. It represents the slope of the right side of our graph. And our H and our K are our values of our vertex. Okay, so let's go through. Your steps to solve or write an absolute value function from a graph. There are 3 simple steps. 1, identify the vertex. That tells you your H and your K. 2, find the slope of the right side of the graph. That tells you your A. 3, substitute the values into the general form. Identify, slope, substitute. Identify, not identify. Vertex, slope, substitute. Vertex, slope, substitute. So let's do the first one together. So on the first one here, we're going to identify our vertex. So 1, the vertex. My vertex is right here. The vertex is at -1, positive 4. Okay, what that tells me is that my h equals negative 1 and my k equals 4. Easy? Okay. Step 2 is to find the slope of the right side of your graph. So how did I get from here to there? Well, that's down 1 and over 1, 2, 3. So negative 1 over 3. So my slope equals negative 1 over 3. That means that my a equals negative 1 over 3. Step 3 is I'm going to plug everything into the general form. Y equals a absolute value of x minus h plus k. Do I have all three of those values? Why, yes, I do. So therefore, y equals negative 1/3. X minus a negative is a positive plus 4. And there's my equation of my function. How do we feel? Good, easy peasy. All right, questions, comments, or concerns? We're gonna do one more together, and then you're gonna do one more on your own. There's really not a whole lot to like practice here, so that's why we don't have a whole lot of practice with it. All right, so next again, step 1, identify your vertex. So my vertex, it's at 2, negative 1. So therefore, h equals 2, k equals negative 1. Okay, and then 2, identify your slope of the right side. So rise 1, that's a positive 1, and run 4, that's another positive. So my slope equals 1 over 4. So my a equals 1 over 4. Plug into the general form. Again, the general form is a absolute value of x minus h plus k. Plug it in, we get y equals 1, 4, x minus 2 minus 1. Ta-da! We wrote an absolute value equation. Easy enough? All right. Here you go. Your attempt. All right, so the first thing you should have done was identify the vertex. What is the vertex? I didn't hear what? 0, 3. Perfect. So that means my h equals 0 and my k equals 3. Second thing you had to do was find the slope of the right side. And what is the slope of the right side? The slope? So the slope should have been 4 over 1. It would be 4. So it's 4 over 1, because to get from your vertex to the next point, you would go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you would run 1. So it would be 4 over 1. So therefore, your a equals 4. Now you have everything you need to write your equation. So y equals 4 absolute value of x plus 3. And why did I just write x? Exactly, because h is 0. So all I needed to do was write the x. Ta-da! That's it.